The fans are out, players are pumped, and the rain has since delayed to bring an atmosphere made for football. The electricity in the air is apparent, and the sense of urgency palpable as the Haslett Vikings come into Viking Stadium to take on the Ionia Bulldogs. Each team is looking for their first conference win, and a win for Haslett could mark a watershed moment. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tony Huff, and along with me is my co-host, Chad Roush. And Chad, this is a great game for Haslett to kind of build some momentum and bring this season back to 500. What do they need to do in order to win?
Well, both teams are very similar here. They're very pro-run offenses. They both like to pack the line, shove it right down the middle, and work off of that. That's the basis for both teams. So for both teams defensively, it's going to be stopping the run. Ionia first and foremost, because that's the basis of Hazlett's offense even more so.
Yeah, and I think that what Ionia really is going to need to do is throw the ball through the air. This is not a team that likes to pass the ball like you had just mentioned, but if they can take advantage of this secondary, which is traditionally smaller, I think that they'll have a good shot at potentially winning the game.
Oh, absolutely. If you watch the East Lansing game and the DeWitt game, they really took advantage of the secondary with bigger, tall receivers and athleticism on the offensive side of the ball. Now, if Ionia has that same quality tonight, they can really take advantage through deep routes, post routes, and a lot of in-between stuff due to the fact that when the Haslett only rushes 3 and blitzes, you can really take advantage of that.
Yeah, and the Haslett defense, they're really going to have to step up their game after having somewhat of a hiccup against DeWitt, allowing 33 points. They only allowed, what was it? I think it was 14 points, and then, 19 points, and then 21 points against East Lansing. So they hadn't really given up that big game, but against DeWitt, it seemed like they had that, like I said, hiccup, and, they're going to really have to change some of their strategy in order to win this game.
Well, absolutely. Anytime you play a crosstown rival, it's a real emotional drain if you can't come out on top. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Haslett can really come back, bounce back, and obviously Coach Otluski is going to have his players ready. But like you said, they really burn Haslett through the air, through the ground, just about everywhere. So after that emotional drain, after all it's taken out of them, coming back against Ionia, an 0-3 team, they should have a great chance to bounce back and really get on the right track to Motown.
Yeah, and I think that if anyone's really followed Haslett throughout the years, you know that Coach O, whenever he loses against DeWitt, it's always just that thorn in his paw, and he's definitely going to bring his team out the next week with just more aggressiveness than anything that you've seen. The DeWitt game really is the pinnacle of the season, and whenever they can't get a win, they're looking for the playoffs and to beat them in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And if they want their playoff hopes to stay alive, they really got to come out with a win tonight. They can only afford one more loss, and then the season is just about done.
Yeah, I like how you said that. This tonight really sets the tone because the CAAC Gold Division, right now, both these teams are 0-1. If either of them goes 0-2, you never know. You still got Fowlerville to play. There's just so many different teams that you have to play. That could be losses. Charlotte, they're not a bad team. The last couple of years, they've kind of, garnered a little more respect from the teams like DeWitt, Haslett, Fowlerville. Those were the big three, in the old ICL, the old CAAC Gold Division. Now you got some other teams that are really coming up. So this game is important for Haslett. And Ionia, for both teams in question to win this game and kind of set the tone for the season to come.
Absolutely, and if you hear talk around Haslett this year, it's really been this is the year. This is the year we go to Motown and really put our talent together. And there's no question about Hazlett's talent on the field. It's just the way it comes together. The team hasn't necessarily gelled yet. This is the kind of breakout game where all that talent come together in unity. If they can really put together their different pieces and really make it work tonight, defensively first, stopping the run of Ionia, and then making it work through the offense, faking, making their wing T full house offense work. And this could be a great breakout game for Haslett. But if they can't come on top, the playoff hopes are very, very short for them, and it's a really do or die moment from there on out.
Well, Chad, you said that the talent is there. Haslett a little more experience than last year. Last year they kind of had their ups and downs, and now that they bring back a pretty good senior class, you're right. The talent is there to make a strong push deep into the playoffs, but right now the case is that they need to focus on one game at a time, because you start looking toward Motown, you start looking toward 2 weeks from now, you could possibly lose a game that you could have won.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was also the case last year. Even with a junior class leading the way, they still had the same talent that they have now. And that was definitely a big concern, was looking ahead, and they've seemed to have done the same thing. But I think that DeWitt was really their wake-up call. I think that they really know what's in front of them now. They know exactly what they have to do offensively and defensively. And with this wake-up call now, they can actually take a loss. They can take the positive out of a loss of a crosstown rival. and really put it together tonight.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I think that we've pretty much exhausted what we want to say. Looks like the teams really haven't started to take the field yet. We got about 4 minutes to kick off. We still got the what is it called? Come on with the flag. National anthem. Thank you, Chad.
Yeah, anytime. Absolutely.
Yeah, so a good game to come. Stay and watch. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vikings of Haslett High School. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to join the Associate Director of Band, John Stewart Condon, and the Viking Marching Band in honoring America with the playing of the Star Spangled Banner.
welcome you back to Viking Stadium. Here we're just about to kick the ball off to start this game against Haslett and Ionia. And Chad, looks like the Haslett offense will come out first.
Yeah, and their kick return game has been very, very dynamic this year, so they could get off to a very, very good start if they can take this one back to the house or at least get in good field position early on.
So here we go, Rob Whitaker. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to strike that. Oh, number 3 is not in the
James
roster
is the lead
for
to the
Ionia,
Vikings.
so we can only take a guess. I'm going to guess
Chris Ahmed, the kick for the
Christian
Bulldogs.
Conrad is kicking.
We'll go with that.
Conrad back to boot, and it's just going to be a squib kick.
Squib.
Touch, going to bring it up the field. Has a couple blockers. Going to cut it back up the field. Is he down just over the 35?
Alex Loblock on the return to the Vikings.
With the return.
Good athletic play there. Let's see if they can come out and establish the run like we said.
Yeah, that's not bad field position for Haslett, especially early on in the game. Get it over your 35, and good things can happen. So we're going to take our first look at the Haslett offense.
And they also have a new tackle in tonight. Offensive tackle Eric Ving was hurt in practice this week, and he's actually a very, very large part of their offense. He's a very good blocker, and if you see on your screen number 54, Paul Marvin is new. There's a lot of pressure on him filling in some big shoes tonight, so we'll have to see how the blocking, both the run and pass game, goes with a new tackle in there. That's always a very crucial position in any offense.
Oh yeah, definitely. Whenever someone on the offensive line goes down, it's always more or less a weak point. Looks like Warblock is going to be in the shotgun formation. This is seldom seen in the Coach O offense.
This is not their starting quarterback. This is probably a Wildcat-like formation. So look for a big play here.
Number 8 in motion. 33 Shibley gets the. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 8 is going to take it. Lampman taking it all the way, and nobody's going to touch him except for there is some laundry on the field way back at the line of scrimmage. I'm thinking this one's going to be brought back.
Well, like I said, Wildcat formation like that, look for the big play. Great faking on the end around, but let's see what the call is.
Yep, and the preliminary indication that it was holding against Haslett, so we're going to bring this one back. That's going to make that last run null and void and tack on an extra 10 yards in the opposite direction.
But still, if you're Haslett, you got to be thinking positive with a play like that to come out the game, even with the hold call.
Well, you never like to see a penalty, especially on the first play from scrimmage. So we
We
will replay the down after that huge run by Jake Lampman, and wow, is he fast.
Yeah, look for him definitely throughout the game. They like to go to him a lot through the run. So
Yeah, well, it seems like whenever they can get some of these talented athletes in open space, dangerous things will happen. And it looks like someone is going to take a timeout, or the official wanting to talk things over. Looks like number 34, Matt Hemingway, just needs to put his hat back on.
looking like they're coming out in the same formation as the last play.
Warblock sends number 1 in motion. He's going to hand it off. Number 1 taking it to the outside. Same play. He's going to cut it back upfield. He's back at the original line of scrimmage. Got some more at the 40.
There it is again, positive yardage. That's Marcus Jenks who caught the huge ball that I referred to earlier in the DeWitt game.
Well, hopefully he can have the same type of plays in this game. Right now, they're going to bring in the junior Adam Foreign.
This is where the traditional offense will come into play, him being the starter. He's played very well throughout the season. He's been very consistent.
Yeah, he really has. They're going to pull it, and it looks like Jenks gets the ball again. He's going to cut it back to the outside, gets just a couple, and that's all they're going to get out of that wing T formation, and that's going to bring up 3rd down.
Interesting to see him go wide to start the game. You're usually used to a more up the middle type pace to start the game, but they're going wide. They're looking for the big play early.
Yeah, normally they go with about their 4 back, just straight up the middle, wanting to, just gut it through. Yeah, like you said, a little bit surprised that they're trying to take this to the outside. See Haslett going back into the wing T formation, Foreign under center again. Looks like he's going to hand it to Jenks again. Gets a couple blocks. He's stumbling, and he gets really close to that first down marker. It's going to depend on where the spot is, and they are going to give him a first down. So 1st and 20 was way back for that holding call, and they get the first down. And you have to think that that's pretty good in terms of a morale boost for Haslett.
Oh, absolutely. There's that run offense working hard, stretching out to get that first down. They're really on their heels today, or they're on their toes, excuse me.
Looks like they made another quarterback change, and they're just going to go split out, single back formation. I don't think I've ever seen this, and
this
I've been
very interesting.
Foreign back.
Oh, he's slipping.
And he gets just sacked by a couple Bulldogs. And, just blindside, did not see that coming. So that's going to bring him back about 7 yards.
On the close side of your screen, you see Marcus Jenks go for the streak. That's the same play against DeWitt that really opened it up for him. They might have been looking for that, but Foreign, like you said, just stumbled to his feet there.
Second down, 16.
So 2nd down and 16, a loss of 6 officially. And I've been commentating here for Division for, this is my 5th year, and I have never seen this playbook be as open as it has. Something that a lot of people from Haslett were calling for Foreign, and you can see he has Jenks open, and it's just over the head, uncatchable. Might have been a little pushing and shoving right there, but like I said, uncatchable. So it's going to bring it 3rd and 16.
Interesting. They're open up. They're going in double play sets. So you watch them go the end around twice in a row, and then they go for that streak route twice in a row, really challenging the Ionia defense to step up and make a stop, and they've done so throughout.
Well, know that the Haslett fans in the stands are definitely happy to see that this playbook is opening up. And here you go again, not seeing the wing T formation. I don't know how many. I've never seen this. And so Foreign dropping back. Looks like it's just going to be a screen to number 33, Shibley, but number 28. Oh, geez, I'm on the wrong one again. 28, Alex Connor Wellman, just all over that.
Yeah, the blocking really broke down there on the far side. They had it open. There was only one defender out there to defend that screen, but somehow he made his way through. You got to really push for the blocking to work next time on that screen. Anytime you throw a screen pass like that to the flat, everyone has to be in the right position to make a play on offense.
Yep, got to get a hat on another hat. So it's going to bring up 4th and 16. 8:15 left for the first quarter. And looks like Warblock to punt, gets a decent punt, hits at the 25, is going to be caught, and they're going to bring it upfield. There's a flag on the play, and he brings it to the 35, 37-yard line, and we'll see what the call is. I would probably assume clipping of some sort, or maybe a block in the back.
It'll be interesting to see if Ionia has the same deep special team speed threat that Haslett has. We know Haslett has that. We've seen it before. It'll be interesting to see if Ionia can really fire back, because plays like that can really change an entire game.
And the white hat did call a block in the back, so that's going to push Ionia back just a little farther. And it is a spot foul.
Illegal block.
So with 8:38 left in this first quarter, Haslett had a relatively good drive going, and then it just stalled after a huge sack from Ionia.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it almost seems like they're working in reverse. They're airing it out first and then maybe opening up their run game with that. Very interesting strategy here by Coach Otlewski.
So here we'll see our first look at the Haslett defense. Number 6, Ryan Massingill. Under center. They're going to hand it straight up the middle. And they'll get maybe a yard or two on that one.
Yeah, Ionia really likes to push it right up the middle, just like Haslett traditionally. They're going more of their own style. They're not opening it up as much to start, but we'll see.
Yeah, and there really isn't like a stark contrast between the size of Ionia and Haslett. They seem pretty much, pound for pound.
Yeah, and with an 0-3 record, you have to wonder if it's just the athleticism that's going to hurt them throughout the game.
It's possible as they try to go to the outside with number 28, Alex Connor Wellman, and the Haslett defense was just having none of that. This is going to be interesting to watch the linebackers for Haslett, because traditionally they've had great linebackers that can read an offense very well. And so when you try to push it to the outside, normally those Mike linebackers are just right there.
Yeah, they only rush 3 linemen mostly when they're not blitzing, and when you only rush 3 defensive linemen, your linebackers have to be on their game.
So Massingill under center again. He's going to pitch it out to one guy. He's going to change directions. He's going to get over that first down for a Bulldog first down. And that is actually pretty close.
chain gang coming out here, maybe.
Yeah, they might want to. And nope, and they're just going to call that a first down. So, no measure. And we're going to continue play with 7:17 left on the clock for this first half. First quarter. That would be a really quick half.
Yeah, it would.
Massingill back under center. They're going to hand it straight up the middle to number 20, Jordan Sadler. And he gets about 3 yards on that carry.
Ionia's looking a lot more like the old Haslett to begin the game tonight.
Yeah, Haslett took a couple risks, with that deep pass. But I like it. I like seeing Haslett open up the playbook because it's something in years past that we haven't seen, and actually a lot of the fans really wanted. Here it is, number 12. Pitch the ball. He's going to cut it upfield. He gets into the secondary, and he'll get to about the 35-yard line, and that's going to bring up third and manageable.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, it really shows the confidence they have in their quarterback, Adam Foreign, as a junior. This is his first year starting, yet they really have a lot of faith in him. He played really well at the JV level, but you got to wonder. I mean, the JV level only speaks for so much.
Oh,
it's much smaller, much different level of competition, but they really trust him very much with the football, and that he's going to make the right decision.
And in the past, Warbach, he played, quarterback at the varsity level. I always thought he did a fantastic job. He's one of those guys who can throw. He's super fast, and I like seeing that wildcat set with them. So here it is. Ionia going to pitch it out again. He's going to, number 28, bring it up the middle again. He's cutting out, cut back upfield. He has the ball on the wrong side. Gets over the 50, out of bounds, and look at that. Ionia starting a little bit of a drive.
Big clip at the corners broke down there on the cutback. We talked earlier about how the secondary was going to be suspect in the passing game. They also got to make the reads in the running game if their backs are going to make it that far upfield.
Just shows you that every portion of your defense is vital. And right now, Haslett definitely need to clamp down to stop this Ionia surge. 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in this first quarter. Massingill under center. Massingill going to hand it off to number 20, but number 14, Johnny LaRosa all over that, and that's going to be brought actually for a 1-yard loss.
And with Ionia packing the line the way they have, Haslett's actually rushing 4 now against their usual formation. They've really adjusted well to Ionia's offense now that they've made it to midfield. Here they go, rushing 4 again, as you can see on your screen.
Massingill under center again. Sadler in the backfield. Looks like Connor David or whatever it is going to get the ball again, and he, that's just almost too easy for him right there as Connor Wellman takes it to the outside once again. They're really spreading this defense out and making them defend all portions of the field.
Like you said, the linebackers are a really key part of this defense. They got to make their reads a lot quicker, it seems like, and make it get to the outside of the field and blow up the play.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about this Haslett defense too, is it's quick reads all the time. I mean, it's surprising, how few and far in between the mistakes that are made by the linebackers for Haslett.
Oh, absolutely.
Messingill giving it straight up to Sadler, and he's just going to
working for the first down.
Plow his way, working for that first down. It is a game of inches, and right here we got some
little extracurricular activity going on after the play.
You took the words right out of my mouth, and I think that Ionia might have this first down. If not, it's 4th and inches. And they're going to give him the first down.
Well, anytime you have an offense like Ionia, it's when you can get 3rd and 4th and short, you're pretty much almost guaranteed to get that first down because they run it all the time. Even on 1st and 2nd down, they're running plays like that. So they're very used to those situations.
Well, it's possible that they're setting up for a pass right now. They're lulling this defense to sleep. You can see how many people are in the box. It looks like almost 10, and they're going to hand it off to number 20. He's taking it upfield, gets upended by number 2, Josh Delaney, and you might want to watch out for this kid because during the East Lansing game, he was all over every single ball. It was ridiculous.
Absolutely. He's not big in stature. He's not a real large guy. He's not going to blow you up with the big hit all the time, but he's all over the place. Like you said, he's smart and very, very athletic. And when you put those together, you got a pretty good defensive back.
And he's a senior playing with a heart of passion right now.
Oh, absolutely.
So with that, it's bringing up 2nd and 3. Ionia but putting on a hard count. They're going to hand it off to Connor Wellman again, and he's trying to force his way upfield, and they're not going to have any of it. That's going to bring 3rd and 2. I think he may have gotten a yard.
More trash talking going on after the play.
And here, this is, you can tell how heated this game really is and how much it really means for both teams at this point in the season.
Yeah, they both really got their backs against the wall if they want to go anywhere this postseason.
Right now, 3rd and 2. This is a big play for Haslett. So if you're out there, get your keys out. This is a key play, as Brandon would say. Massingill under center. He's going to try a counter. Connor Wellman gets it again. He's taking it upfield. Gets to the 20 and the 21. So they're knocking on the door of the red zone, and that's a 1st down. Bulldogs.
They kind of really fooled them there. They've been going up right up the middle the whole time, and the outside linebackers from Haslett there just got fooled on the play. Yeah. That's what happens when you go up the middle so much. You can really set up those outside runs.
Yeah, and one would be wondering whether or not they're setting up for a pass, but right now they're actually getting Haslett guessing on the running game. So I guess don't fix it if it's not broke.
Yeah, all the faking I was talking about pregame for Haslett, it's really being used against them.
Massingill under center. Going to hand it off to Sadler. Sadler gets a hole. He's going upfield. Couple arm tackles, and look at that, a 9-yard gain for Ionia. They're inside the red zone.
Yeah, I counted 3 defensive linemen that could have made the play there and just didn't. That's not a breakdown. That's not any kind of play that you can call. That's just right there. You got to make a play.
So Ionia in scary territory for if you're a Haslett fan. 2 minutes left in this first quarter. 2nd down and 2, and Ionia is right there. Massingill under center, as always. And he's going to hand it right up to Sadler again. And great blocking upfield. And here, there's the extracurriculars again. This is getting to be a chippy game.
Yeah, traditionally, this isn't much of a rivalry.
No, not at all.
Tonight, it's looking like one.
Yeah, of the great rivalries in this area, you don't think of Haslett Ionia. But apparently, tonight, you got a 1-2 squad, an 0-3 squad, really trying to change the course of the season. Hey, it's football. Massingill getting the ball. A fake reverse, or excuse me, it was a reverse, but a fake toss, and that was given to number 12, Jack Nelson. That's the first time he got the carry for the day.
Yeah, there was no fooling the defense on that play. They really responded well. But they got to do that for a couple more downs now if they want the ball back.
Yeah, but that was for a loss right there. So it's 2nd and goal right now, which is kind of nice that they have 2nd and goal, and they're at the 10-yard line. That's there's still some space in between. The touchdown.
Yeah, if you're an offense, it's really hard to work 1st and goal on a 10-yard line because if you run, you're probably going to get stopped, and you don't have a lot of room to pass the ball.
And it looks like that Massingill's going to take it for himself. Great block, and he's going to take it upfield. He's beaten a couple players. He's inside the 5, and right now it's 3rd and goal in Ionia. Wow.
Yeah, if you watch the game, it really seems like Ionia's offensive line is really just beating people to spots. That's all it is. That their line and backs are just beating people to spots, making the right blocks, and that their runners don't have a really tough job. They're just pushing it up the field wherever there's the hole.
Right now, this offensive line is pushing the defensive line wherever they want. And that's the reason why Ionia has put such a great drive together. There's 18 seconds and counting right now left in this first quarter. And I don't know if Ionia's going to run a play or not. Massingill under center. And he's going to pitch it out to Connor Williams. Connor Williams taking it up the field. And it is very close to that touchdown. No indication. And now it is a touchdown. With 4 seconds left in the first quarter. Connor Wellman was the carrier. And Ionia strikes first.
Power versus power on that play. They met at the goal line, and Ionia's front 7 and the back there just overpowered them. You got to wonder how livid Coach O is going to be after a drive like that. Knowing him personally, he's all about physically dominating an opponent, and that's the exact opposite of what Haslett did there on that drive.
Well, at the beginning of the game, we were talking about what Haslett needed to do to get off to a fast start, and every point that we gave for Haslett is essentially what Ionia did to get off to that start.
Absolutely.
So it looks like the point after attempt will be by number 3. Still not on the roster, so you can take a guess.
We'll go with Polkowski.
Nathan Polkowski.
And he can kick.
Wow, Kid has a leg right there. Nevertheless, 7-0 Ionia, and now Haslett really going to have to put some sort of a drive. And really what stopped the drive last time was the holding penalty.
Yeah, you're shooting yourself in the foot. That's what Haslett's been doing all game. But with a big play offense like this, with a lot of big play guys on the outside of the field, they can really work the field, but they can also go for the shot if they want to.
Yeah, even though Haslett did get the first down after that holding penalty, they had a touchdown. They scored first. But, you can't have those mental lapses, and so here we are at 7-0 Ionia. It's just this is gonna be a good game. You can feel the atmosphere. You can feel, the electricity in the air, that everyone really wants to see a good football game. I know that the stands are packed here at Haslett, as they always are. You look across the field at Ionia, kind of sparse, but,
it is a long way to come.
It is a long way. Let's see if Ionia, we saw this kid kick last time, so, or at least that field goal. So we know he can kick. Last time he had
see if they squib again, and they will.
They will. It's going to go back to Rohrblock, and he's going to take this upfield, and he's fast. He's going to cut it out to the outside. Gets over the 35, just shy of the 40 right there, and about the same field position for Haslett.
Yeah, you got to wonder if Ionia knows the big playability of the return team, and they're just scribbling on purpose just to make sure there's no touchdowns on kick returns.
Well, I think that's actually, I think that's a good way of going about the game. I mean, you don't want to give that big play up. They gave it up with Jake Scheibele, or not, excuse me, Jake Latman to the outside. I would be surprised if Haslett doesn't do that again.
Right, and they're really, you don't see this happen a lot. You don't see them stretching the field nearly this much in any kind of game that I've seen recently, but they're really working for it now. And if you wonder if they've done all this stretching the field just to go right back to their traditional up-the-middle style, which couldn't be a bad idea right now.
Yeah. There, Coach O, coaching his team. Someone took a timeout. Not sure whom. Oh, excuse me. It was the end of the first quarter.
Yes.
I didn't even realize. All right, well, end of the first quarter, so they're going to switch sides of the field right now, and Haslett coming out. Looks like Foreign is out there. Well, so is Rohrblock, so we'll see what set Haslett goes into. Looks like
you can always keep a defense guessing when you have multiple kids that can play the quarterback position on the field at one time.
Well, it looks like they got Rohrblock, Jenks, and Scheibele out there. And they're going to hand it off to Scheibele. Scheibele taking up field, and he gets to about the 40-yard line, so that's a good first down play.
I think that might be Cassidy, actually, Colby Cassidy. Let's see. Yeah, that's Colby Cassidy, the small, very, very small junior. And for a guy that small, he's got a lot of heart.
Yeah. I'm going to publicly apologize to Jake because there's no way he's that small. I'm sorry. So, strike that Cassidy with a good first carry. Foreign back under center. They're going to hand it off to Rohrblock. Rohrblock takes it up the field. I don't even know where he ended up, but it looks like for a 3-yard gain.
A couple yards to go for the first, and like I said, they're trying to push the up-the-middle style again, and hopefully that can set them up for another deep play later on in the game.
Well, we saw Coach O open the playbook up that first drive. Let's see. Right now it's the wing tee's working for him, so I wouldn't say change anything quite yet. Foreign, wing tee again. Warren looking over the defense. He's going to hand it off. And it looks like Cassidy again. And he got 1 yard, and that's going to bring up 4th down. And I know that Coach O does not want.
Yeah, they're pretty thankful for the forward progress rule right now. That would have been a multiple-yard loss on that play.
Yeah, well, I know that Coach O definitely does not want a 3-and-out right now, but he doesn't want a 4-and-out and then give them give them the ball, inside their own territory. Yeah. So Rohrblock back to punt. And he gets it off. Nice kick. Number 22, Tyler Welch, lets it bounce, and it's going to be down at the 20.
And you talked about how Rohrblock has the running ability, the passing ability. He's got a boot, too.
Yeah, and it always seems that Coach O, for the longest time, they haven't really had a guy that was just a punter.
Absolutely.
Mike Musina, he was a kicker a long time ago. Magnuson, pretty much the kicker. If you're a quarterback, you're punting. That's just it. And then it gives you various options. You know, if it's 4th and 1 and you put him in the back right there, it's possible that he could just run straight up the middle, you know, get that 1 yard. I mean, I don't know if that's probably necessarily the best thing to do on 4th and 1, but maybe 4th and 6 or something like that possible.
Yeah, last week at DeWitt, they actually attempted a fake punt on the first drive of the game.
Oh,
Didn't work out so well, but they can always go to that when you have an athletic punter.
Yeah, well, you know, whenever you play DeWitt, expect the unexpected, as the cliche goes. 9 minutes and 55 seconds left in this first half. Right now, Ionia 7, Haslett nothing. And Ionia trying to mount another drive, and a time-consuming drive at that. Massingill under center. Sadler the back. And that's going to be off, or excuse me, false start.
Ben Jackson there jumping the play. Or is that a false start?
Yeah, that was a false start on Shane Ferris, the tight end.
Yeah, Haslett's defensive line has always been very, very well coached and not jumping on fake snap counts. So if you see that tonight, it's very uncharacteristic of them right there, like you said, false start.
Yeah, well, the only reason why Haslett jumped was because they saw the offensive lineman start walking backward, which actually they were going back, so I don't know, that might have been a called pass play. At any rate, that's going to bring up 2nd and 12. And they're going to hand it off to Connor Wellman, and he's taking it up the field. He gets about 3 yards. That's going to bring up 3rd down for Ionia.
And you got to wonder with these toss plays, if we're going to try that fake toss again and try to go the other way. It really opened it up for him last drive.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, Haslett really needs to be disciplined to make sure that the ball's going exactly where it's going in order to take down the correct running back. Massingill back under center.
Haslett's going to rush 3 now, probably drop back.
3rd and long, and they're going to pass it out to number 12. He's going to take it up the field. He has a blocker. He cuts it back up, gets the first down, just shy of that 35. And number 12, Jake Nelson, shows a little bit of his speed and the power of the Ionia offense.
And you also see a little bit of a conservative style for the Haslett secondary. They're kind of waiting around trying to stop him at the first down line. If you're the secondary, you got to take more of a chance on that play and try to stop him a few yards back.
Ionia really controlling the game right now. They can do whatever they want. 8:24 left in this first half. Massingill surveying the field. He's going to hand it off to Sadler again, and that's their fullback, and seems like they like to do that on first down. He gets 2 yards.
Yeah, they're really using that as a setup play, not necessarily for big gains or for moving it forward, just to set up everything else that they're doing.
Yep, they like to lull the defense to sleep, and right now they're doing exactly that. Probably the fans, too.
Sadler following the stop for the Vikings. 2nd down, 8.
Massingill under center. Sadler the lone back. And they're going to hand it off to that Jake Nelson again. And here's a flag, and that might be a late hit on Haslett. And if so, that is a costly penalty.
Yeah, the extracurricular activity is it's good for the sport, but when it starts to cost you yards, that's when you really got to stop and control yourself.
Well, let's see what the call is. You got dead ball personal foul against the Vikings, most likely a late hit. So tack on 15 yards to the end of that play. And it was only a 1 yard gain.
And like you said, you really expect to see that in the DeWitt game, not in a Haslett-Ionia matchup.
Right. No need for that. Well, that will give them an automatic first down. And that's not what you want to do, because that puts them over the other side of the 50-yard line.
And somebody is getting chewed out on the sideline. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Haslett.
Someone somewhere did wrong. Massingill under center. He keeps it for himself. He has a blocker. He takes it upfield, and he gets tackled by Josh Delaney. And like I said, you want to keep your eye on him. But Massingill keeps it for himself, something we haven't seen today.
Yeah, that was great faking from the quarterback. Kept it right on his hip, and nobody could see the football except for him and the rest of his offense. So that was a very, very well-designed play, especially after, like we said, lulling that defense to sleep.
Yeah, and even the linebacker saw, he was right there to tackle him, and he thought that the ball was somewhere else. It was great deception and great execution by Ionia. And it's so great that Haslett takes a timeout to talk it over.
Yeah, like we said, the theme of this game is Haslett's tactics being used against them. You don't see this a whole lot, but that was a Haslett design play. You fake it, and then you go the other way. And that was great execution on Ionia's part.
So 7:11 left in this first half. Ionia 7, Haslett nothing. Ionia driving. For Haslett, what do? It's first down. All the momentum is really on the other side of the field right now.
Well, I think that they're doing a good job on first and second down of stopping the run. But that's just what Ionia wants them to do, is to get that stop and kind of lull them into thinking it's going up the middle. On third and fourth down, if you're the secondary, you got to be a little less conservative. You got to go meet them at the play instead of waiting for them to come to you, and that's really what they've been doing in the backfield.
Well, if the strategy is to instill a false sense of security, Ionia is doing just that with their third down conversions tonight. Massingill back under center, Sadler the lone back. But as we know, that doesn't mean anything because they have been just taking this ball everywhere. They're going to give it to Sadler. He got to kick it to the outside. And he's not Josh Delaney right there again. And that's going to be a 1-yard gain. He almost broke that, but the guy from the secondary came up to bring a hit.
Yeah, meeting them at the point of the attack is going to be a very, very big part of the second half as we count down here.
Second down, 10.
Matthew Lammers also was there on the stop. We should give credit to him because he held, Sadler there for some time. Massingill under center, Sadler again the lone back. This is the wishbone formation that they love, and they're going to hand it off, it looks like, to Connor Wellman, and he's going to be brought down. The Haslett defense all over that.
Yeah, the nose tackle blew up the play there, made it right through the center. And sometimes if you're a defensive lineman, just by falling and being laid down right there in the center of the play, you make a great play.
There you go. It looks like Haslett went back to that four-man set. Oh, yeah, four-man set. And here we'll watch the replay of that last. You can see, look at, coming back to the point of attack right there, just coming out of nowhere. Great.
Yeah, there's Delaney. You can watch. You'll be seeing a lot more of that as the game goes on.
And so here's a pass for the first time by Ionia. Massingill looking for someone, and he throws it just short. So maybe that's why Ionia doesn't throw it that much.
Well, that was some great coverage, absolutely. And like I said, the athleticism. It seems like even though Hazard's secondary is small in stature, they're a lot more athletic than Ionia's wideouts here tonight.
Yeah, they're definitely getting to the point. You know, they're getting to where the ball is. You know, they're just missing a couple tackles. I mean, they're just a couple plays away from really having a good game. Well, it looks like Ionia, I don't know if they're going to punt. It looks like it. Number 11, Tommy White is in. And they are in their punt formation. So with 5 minutes and 43 seconds left in this half, Haslett gets a big stop in dangerous territory.
You got to wonder how they're going to use this time here, if they're going to go deep right away or try to work the clock to the end of the half.
Well, it looks like number 2 tries to get it, and it just hits off of his shoulder pads. It's Josh Delaney, and it goes out of bounds.
Well, I guess we jinxed him. We've been praising him all night, and there he goes dropping the punt.
Yeah, we have been giving him a lot of praise, but, you know, you give praise where praise is due, because he has been, you know, I watched the East Lansing game. He really was. Wherever that ball went, he was there. It was like the ball and him, they were some sort of magnet. And,
Siamese twins, huh?
Exactly. I mean, you could not separate the two. So foreign in the wing T formation. They're going to hand it off to, looks like number 32.
I think that's Shibley on the play.
Is that Shibley?
33, yes.
33. See, I can't read, I guess. That is 33.
Yeah, if I'm Haslett right now with roughly 5.5 left, you want to work the clock to the point where Ionia does not have another chance to attack at the end of this half.
Yeah, well, you definitely want to get a first down first before you can start talking about draining some clock. So right now, Haslett in the offset wing T formation, foreign under center. Going to hand it off to Jenks. Jenks taking it to the outside. He breaks one tackle, and he's brought down by a slew of Bulldogs.
Yeah, and Ionia on that play was doing a lot of what Haslett wasn't, and that's getting to the outside and meeting them at the line of scrimmage, which the secondary had a lot of trouble with for Haslett.
So it's going to bring up 3rd and 9, and let's just see exactly what Haslett's going to do. They bring in number 8, Jake Lampman, and number 7, Alex Roblock. So there's some speed out there and some running backs. And or slot receivers. I really love seeing this out of Haslett. I really do. Foreign under center. Dropping back. He's looking. Under some duress. He breaks one tackle. He's looking downfield still. Breaking another. And he's just going to... I think he's back at the original line of scrimmage. That's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, even with the loss there, it was a smart decision to keep that ball. If he would have tried to throw it anywhere, it probably would have been an interception. So, again, you can really trust him. Even when the play breaks down, he's not going to try to force anything. And that just speaks great volumes about our first-year starter.
And I know right now Haslett would like to have the last 2 drives back, as they both have stalled.
Yeah, so much for working the clock, huh?
Exactly. Warblock punts it. It's a line drive. It's going to be picked up. No. The flags come
There's
out.
a block in the black.
Yeah. That's the second block in the back by Ionia on the punt return.
Almost just a dirty play there. I mean, you can obviously see that he's past you and he just goes for the block anyway. Like you said, a chippy game for 2 teams that you don't really expect this out of them.
Well, you like to see the aggressiveness, especially in football. What a way to kick off the weekend. Michigan State, Notre Dame, the big game for, for some teams close to home.
Yeah, that should be a pretty good game itself.
Yeah, it should. I think that Notre Dame, still they're rebuilding after they kicked out Weiss. That whole program didn't really turn out. So now they bring in Brian Kelly, guy who.
Yeah, he's very, very high credentials for Brian Kelly after he took Cincinnati essentially from rags to riches, from nothing to something.
Yeah, he did. But remember, he did that with D'Antonio's players down in Cincinnati. But we digress, and we get back to the Ionia-Haslett game. 3 minutes and 29 seconds left in this half, and Ionia just knocking on the door. They're going to flip it out to Jake again. Jake's going to take it right up the field, and he gets about 1 yard. I'm not going to call him Jake because we're not on a first base basis, but his name is Jake Nelson, and he takes it for 1 yard.
Yeah, and the good thing about the Haslett defense on that play is that even with a few missed tackles, they've got support in the backfield with that very, very talented secondary headed by Josh Delaney.
So 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining and counting, and I think that Ionia really just trying to drain this clock and go into halftime with the lead.
Pretty smart strategy for a team that looks like traditionally wouldn't put up a lot of points, at least not with this group of players. So they're doing it the right way if they want to win this game.
And it looks like Massingill looking for someone downfield. He doesn't have anybody. Great blocking. And, oh, wow. He just gets crunched at the 50. Number 5, Brent Allen was the leader of the gang that just tackled him. And you were talking about the offensive production for Ionia. Only put up 28 points thus far this season.
Yeah, in 2 games. Or 3 games, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, Haslett's put up, what did it say, 68? No, that can't be right. Nope, that's incorrect.
But we know it's more than Ionia.
Yeah, it's more than Ionia because they have 20 in one game. So here, a double reverse, and it goes to Jake Nelson. I should remember that name, man. He takes it just shy of that first down. Clock is continuing to tick, 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 tick. A minute and 45 seconds, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
And the Haslett used their timeouts early just because of defensive breakdowns, so they don't have a lot of room to work with as far as the clock.
I believe they have 2 timeouts left right now, which I'm surprised they don't use right now, but it looks like Massingill is just going to walk out there with no real...
Yeah, they don't need a whole lot of. They don't need to hurry to the line, that's for sure.
No, and so right now, 4th and 1, the crowd comes to their feet, and a timeout called by Ionia. Someone in the booth might have seen something different. And so they're going to take a timeout to talk things over. So right now, I like getting this atmosphere. You know, the crowd's back into it. They haven't really had a lot to cheer for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though they've tried to open it up early, as you said, it hasn't really resulted in anything. And when they went traditionally back to the wing tee, it worked a little bit, but Ionia seemed to figure them out. So the next half, they really got to mix it up. They got to go back and forth between the different styles of offenses if they want to drive the ball anywhere in this game.
Before the half comes, they definitely need to stop Ionia right here. Now, I don't think that they're really, I mean, Ionia looks like they're not even trying to score. They look like they're just trying to run out the clock. The only reason why Haslett, you know, is not taking timeouts is because they'll have 2 with a minute left, so they'll have, you know, they can possibly create some sort of 1-minute drill, you know, offense and score.
Yeah.
At the very least, a field goal.
And you got to wonder what Ionia's thinking taking the timeout here. Maybe they're looking for a big play. Maybe they're seeing something in the defense, like you said. Maybe they're looking for something to catch them off guard, and they've done that a few times this game.
And so right now, or they might punt it. You never know. I have seen teams do that. They go out in the offensive set, and then fourth out, let's punt it. But not this team, because right now Massingill is under center, and you can hear the crowd getting back into it again as Massingill is going to take it for himself. He gets hit before the line, and I don't think he got it.
Doesn't look like it. It'll be interesting where they spot the ball here.
Well, it looks like the ball came out. He got it back.
And he's going to put that down.
Yeah, that's going to be first down Haslett right there.
Great stop. They met him in the backfield, and they followed through with the rest of the defense there.
Yeah, they did. And I wish I would have seen who the first person was to give him credit, because that was a heads-up
It looked
play.
like it was one of the defensive linemen. They really packed the line there, and it looked like they knew what was coming on Ionia's part.
So 1:09 left in the first half.
Now look for the on the close, or I don't know which side they're going to go to. Look for the streak route. They've been looking for the streak route early. It worked in the Witt game, and with talented wideouts like they have, even though they're in the traditional set now, look for that later on this drive.
And so right now, Foreign under center. He hands it off to Scheibler. Scheibler cuts it back upfield, and he is a hoss. And it's going to be 1 minute and 3 seconds and counting, and that clock is ticking.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been too happy about getting mistaken with Cassidy, because that is a very big man right there.
I've already made my public apology. I did it on the vision. Here we go. Foreign back under center.
Here.
You're going to hand it off to number 32, Cassidy. Cassidy taking it up the field. He gets a second surge, and I think Haslett's going to take a timeout. 41.8 seconds left in this first half.
Here on third down, you got to wonder if this is where that big shot's come, because if it comes to fourth, they really don't want to shoot themselves in the foot by giving Ionia good field position once again.
Well, right now I believe it's 4 down territory for Haslett. They wouldn't have, not used their timeouts when Ionia was on the other side of the ball if they didn't think that they had a legitimate shot at scoring.
Right. And that's the good part about playing a team like Ionia, is you don't have to always worry about the deep pass downfield, because that's the one play that right now would work either way, and the only team that's got that attribute is Haslett.
Right now, yeah. Right now I think that Coach O and his gang are really trying to come up with something, because they don't want to go down at halftime to Ionia.
And remember, they received a half, so they're going to have to start out back on defense again when we come up for the second half.
And the funny thing is that when you're a team that's 0-3, you start to get down on yourself. But you go into halftime with the lead, you start believing in yourself. You start thinking, hey, we can do this. And it really, puts this sense of, I don't want to say pride, but, just this sense of belief that, hey, we can do this. We did it for one half. All we have to do it, is for another half. Well, here they're going to go back to the Wildcat set. They're going to hand up to Lampman. Lampman taking upfield. Great blocking. He has one guy to beat. He takes it to the outside. He's at the 10. The 5 hits
touchdown.
One, and he gets in the end zone. Touchdown. And wow, on 3rd and 4 with 40-some seconds left on the clock, the play that worked in the beginning, let's scan the field, no flags, touchdown this time.
There's that end around on the Wildcat, just like they tried to work earlier. The holding call brought it back in the first quarter, but here they've scored. Great job by Lampman using his athleticism, and a great job downfield blocking.
And wow, what a fast man that kid is. Sad to see he's a senior.
but most likely he'll be playing football for 4 more years of his career.
And here we go. The ball's kicked up and through the uprights. We got a game, 7-7.
Great job by Haslett bouncing back there. There's the X factor. Coach Otlusi getting his boys fired up, and their athleticism has really been on display so far.
Hey, and let's take a look at that last play right here. You see, you have Lampman, great block by Cassidy, and here, number 11, pushing a guy out of the way.
Yeah, there's Zach Port really clearing the way, and Lampman just doing what he does best, getting to the outside and outrunning everyone.
So there you have it. Haslett coming back in typical Haslett fashion. Well, no, not even typical. That was out of that Wildcat.
Yeah,
you know,
they've stretched the field. And the scariest thing about that is that almost all of the running backs for Haslett can break a play like that at any time during the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. They all have that burst of speed that is necessary for an offense. So here you go. 31 seconds now. Haslett definitely doesn't want to give up something big right before the half.
They're probably just going to go with the squib, just like Ionia's been doing all game.
Yeah, all the momentum is in Haslett's favor. We haven't actually seen Haslett kick the ball on a kickoff yet. We will for the second half, so we'll essentially be seeing this 2 times. 31.8 seconds left in this first half, and it has been a relatively good one. You know, not high scoring by any means, but if you like a good chess match, well, you've come to the right place.
Yeah, very good back and forth nature to this one. We'll probably see a lot of the same in the next half.
And Warwatt kicks it. He puts a boot to it. Number 12. Looks like he's going to bring it back out to the outside. He's brought down at the 25-yard line. And sorry, I really should know this kid's name. Jake Nelson. That's going to be my mission for the next half, is to know this kid's name.
Well, we'll probably be seeing a lot more of him. He's a pretty big part of the offense. So
yeah, he really has been a vital part of the offense. The offense really has been centered around Nelson, Sadler, and Connor Wellman. All 3 of those guys, really the guys that are getting the touches.
And you saw a very good fake by the quarterback Massingill earlier. You got to wonder if they're going to go back to that in the second half.
Yeah, lest we forget Massingill's first down. So Massingill is back under center. They're just going to hand it to Sadler. Sadler gets a couple blocks. He's tried to break that tackle, but number 5, Brent Allen, was not having any of it. And so there's 15 seconds left on the clock, and it looks like Ionia's going to take a timeout. So interesting call from the coach when you're 70 yards away.
Yeah, Haslett's really buckled down on the arm tackles. They've really started to grab hold and get a lot of defensive support all over the field. So if they can really buckle down and make it to the right position and make the play, because that's really been the theme all night. It's not that they're getting beat with a game plan. They're just not making plays. They've been there, but if they can just start making plays, start bringing people down, Haslett should be in pretty good shape.
I think that's a good distinction to bring up, that it really hasn't been that the defense has been playing horrible or whatever. It really has come down to just those individual plays where you have the guy right there in your sights, and it's an arm tackle, and it's the execution of the play that needs to, be a little bit better on an individual basis.
Yeah, and you got to wonder if that's that hangover effect from the last game with the crosstown rivals as big as DeWitt. A little bit of that, but they're really starting to snap out of it here as we come down to the half.
Possible, but a sense of urgency is being felt, I believe, by both sides, and you can tell that the fans definitely want a win here against Ionia. So with 12.4 seconds left in this first half.
We got a split out now for Ionia. We haven't seen this.
And watch Jake Nelson down here at the bottom of your screen. And they're going to fake the pass, and that's going to open up a big running room for, excuse me. Let me gather myself right now. Jordan Sadler, and they're going to get the first down. Clock will stop. 7.6 seconds remain. Timeout. Ionia.
Pretty good call there by Ionia. Everyone was thinking pass to the split out, and they really opened it up pretty well.
Yeah, especially with Jake Nelson, the guy that was at the bottom of the screen. He's one of those guys that you have to respect.
Exactly.
His speed has been dangerous.
And he was, if they would have thrown to him, he was singled out there on the coverage. Joe Varlisi was the only one out there with him. So if he gets beat, that's a pretty big play for Ionia. But you got to wonder if they'll go to that either now or later on in the fourth quarter.
Well, it is possible, but right now, 7 seconds is all that remains. And both teams really not wanting to give up, or Ionia wanting to get the big play, and Haslett not wanting to give it up after capturing the momentum of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
it really had been all Ionia.
Physically, especially. I mean, if you're Coach O and the rest of the coaches, you really got to tell your team, we're getting dominated at the line. And that's really been the story. The secondary is kind of bailing out the defense, if you will. So the defensive line and the linebackers really got to buckle down here.
Oh, look at this.
Shotgun.
Going into the shotgun formation. Massingill looking deep. Has a guy open? No. Incomplete. And that's going to be the end of the quarter. Or excuse me, end of the half. And so right now, 7-7. Haslett going in at a tie. What are your thoughts?
Well, the athleticism has been showcased on Haslett's side with a big advantage. You saw that they got good coverage on the outside. It's just that when you're a less athletic team, you got to focus on physically dominating the line of scrimmage and faking very well. And that's exactly what Ionia's done. That's probably the biggest reason why the game is so close and so well fought. Ionia's really outmatched here, but they're just doing the little things right. They're getting to the right spots. They're making plays, and they were the better team this half.
Yeah. Exactly what you said. I mean, Ionia did everything that they needed to do to put themselves in the position that they are. They actually should probably be winning the game right now. I mean, Haslett did not, by any stretch of the imagination, have a great half, but they had two great plays, one of which was brought back. And so now it's 7-7. We're going to go to halftime. I'm sure that Coach O has something up his sleeve to bring his team back into it, because right now I don't think that their minds are totally in the game. And I know that at halftime is huge for a coach to kind of bring the troops back and kind of galvanize them and be like, okay, guys, this is what needs to be done. We cannot start a season 1-3.
Exactly. You can bet on this going to be, if you were to record this, it'd be very, very motivational for just about anybody in this half.
Well, at halftime it's 7-7. Haslett Ionia deadlocked. We're going to leave you to the band, and we will come back for some great second half action. Enjoy.
This year's show features the talents of drill writer Ross Johnson. This year's drum majors are Marcus McGuire and Kate Earl. Both Marcus and Kate earned the Michigan State University Big Ten Award at their drum major camp this summer. Drum majors, is your band ready for performance? The Viking Marching Band would like you to take a moment and then enter into a field. While we know this may look like a football field to you at the moment, it is actually a stage. A stage that has seen many famous talents come and go, heard many audiences gasp with suspense, and bear a hearty laugh or a heartfelt cry as the songs of a great musical have been sung by Broadway stars. Tonight we pay homage to some of the great Broadway hits, those that soon will be or already have gone off Broadway. Join the Viking Marching Band now as we begin with a Broadway hit that debuted in January of 1988 and enjoyed the title of longest running show since 2006. This is The Phantom of the Opera. This next classic had a 12-year run on Broadway with over 5,000 performances, making it the 8th longest-running Broadway show. It draws many of its characters and plot elements from the famous opera La Bohème by Puccini. From the musical Rent, we hope you enjoy Seasons of Love. American Marching Band would now like to take you off-Broadway, way off-Broadway. This show is so famous and it played for over 35 years, but never once on a Broadway stage. We just thought it was cool, and it is staged in the theater. From the Rocky Horror Picture Show, let's do the Time Warp. Wellman Marching Band would now like to close tonight's show with a piece from the Broadway musical that opened in 1979 and closed in 1983. It's been made into a movie starring Madonna. It has been rumored that there is a revival in the works for the musical Evita. The mellophone duet is played by Aaron Scott and Melody Spokosa. This is Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
welcome back to Viking Stadium, or Jamie Gent Stadium, as I just saw on the billboard. When did this happen, Chad?
I couldn't tell you. I'm seeing this for the first time. I didn't notice that.
Okay, well, I just saw it like literally 2 seconds ago, right before we came back in. So that's how we're going to open. Welcome back. 7-7 is the score if you're just joining us. Let's hit you guys with some stats provided to us by the statisticians for Haslett. I feel like I should have another tagline to say that.
Some kind of advertisement.
Yeah,
or
some
something.
sort of, yeah, exactly. All right, here, for Haslett rushing, let's start off with a Lampman. He has one carry for 49 yards, and he had another carry that was brought back for probably a little bit more than 49 yards. It looks like Jenks, Marcus Jenks, that is, 4 carries for 26 yards. Adam Foran, he has -6 yards. That's because of the sack. Warblock, only 3 yards. I'm really surprised about that. Cassidy has 9. Shibley with 2. Out of those, what really stands out to you?
Well, Lampman had the big play. I think you really need to go to him more in the open field. You got to really open it up. And you got to get the ball to Shibley more, I think. He's the team leader. He's the massive, he's the workhorse. I mean, you can give him the ball, 60 times a game, he's going to be all right. He's the workhorse for the team. You got to go to him and Lampman more. They're the leaders of this team, and they really set the standard for the rest of the running backs. So you got to, I think if you're Haslett, you start with them and then work your way to the rest of the weapons if you're Haslett.
And so let's go to the opposing side. Right now, Sadler, number 20, with 11 carries, 34 yards. The other guy, Jake Nelson, 11 carries, 72 yards. 2 guys with 11 carries in the first half. Basically, they're the offense.
Right, and if you're Haslett, you got to be a little bit down on yourself about that you've let 2 guys beat you, essentially. I mean, Haslett's trying to do it with 4 or 5 guys, and Ionia's doing it with 2, mostly because it's not really them, it's the physicality of their offensive line. They're really creating holes, and they're really paving the way for these 2 guys to shut up the defense. And if you're Haslett, I mean, there's not a lot of it's not really an X's and O's type of game. It's not game planning, it's not any certain kind of play. You just got to beat them. I mean, it really comes down to that. It's getting to their spot and making the play.
That's just one of those stats that really just jumps off the paper when you see it. Another player for Ionia, Alex Connor Wellman. I said the name multiple times. 6 carries for 23 yards. That's, not as many yards as you'd think, but I feel like he's had more of an impact on 3rd down and short.
That's been the theme for this game, is that we have a 7-7 score, but it almost seems more like 14-0 Ionia. I mean, just because, like I said, the physicality of the game. And when Haslett has an opportunity to open up the field, they've only capitalized on it once. I mean, the other time they shot themselves in the foot. And if they're going to really win this game, they got to go to that open field basis more. And it'd be interesting to see if they open up the playbook just like they did to start the game, if they'll start the half like that. But we'll see them on defense here first and see if they can bounce back and get a stop.
Well, it looks like Jake Nelson, he was the only player who actually got a touchdown. It was the lone touchdown for the Ionia Bulldogs. The passing has basically been non-existent. Haslett, Foran, he's completed 1 for 2 for 0 yards. I mean, that
right.
So really, there has and I don't even. I know that Ionia has tossed the ball up maybe twice, but they've both been over the receivers' heads, and therefore doesn't really even constitute the statisticians even putting them in the passing category.
Right. And Haslett's got the athleticism. And anytime you've got that, especially for wideouts and running backs, you got to take advantage of it sometime. They've tried a few times, but I think in the second half you might see them air it out more, just because if they get a lot of one-on-one matchups on the corners of the field, they're going to go there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that right now Haslett, they are going to go on defense first. So I think that that's really going to put I'm kind of lost for words right now, but it's really going to set the tone is the phrase I'm looking for. It's going to set the tone for this half, because if they allow Ionia continue to do what they were doing and just chip at them, just chopping wood, I mean, just slowly just battering them, I feel like you're going to see a lot of people start, I don't want to say losing faith, but start thinking, can Haslett really do this against a team?
That hurts if you're a defense when it's only 2, 3, 4 yard gains, but they're so consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, Haslett's made a few really good plays in the backfield, but that's got to be almost every single time if Ionia's just going to bait them into making those plays.
One stat that we actually don't have just because I don't think that is very important, especially at the high school level. But it is important in analyzing a game is time of possession really has been won by Ionia. And if Haslett wants to get success, they're going to have to win in that facet as well. Well, here's the first time that they kick it, and look, Jake Nelson gets the ball, and it's going to be a fake reverse. Jake Nelson going to take it up the field. He has one guy to beat, and he's going to probably be brought down. And is that really going to be a block in the back?
Yeah, that's a pretty questionable call. I thought, the rule in the pro league is that if you hit the side of them, you can get the side of the shoulder pad, and they're pretty lenient on that, then it's a good, clean block. And that looked like the side from where we're standing.
Yeah, that definitely looked like the side, but there's another flag right here at the 50-yard line. So really not a disciplined Ionia team. I don't know if the ladder will be even brought up, but wow, that's a now you see why Haslett really hasn't been kicking back to Jake Nelson all game.
Exactly, and that fake reverse was pretty well put together. Those fakes have been working all game for Ionia, whether it's in the running game or the return game now.
And you know that Haslett was most likely prepared for that, but just right now on game day, really the execution for them has been very good.
And you see the defense right now getting pretty fired up. If you're over-emotional, then you're even more susceptible to falling for those fakes. I mean, you want to make the big play. You want to be the hero sometimes on defense. And if you're not disciplined, then it's going to hurt you. And you got to wonder, like we said, I mean, Coach O is very, very emotional at halftime, I'm guessing, as well as the players, especially when they already have their backs against the wall coming into this. Yeah. So if they're over-emotional, that could really come back to hurt them.
All right, so let's look at what happened right here. They're going to re-kick, and essentially – this just means there were 2 penalties
against both teams.
That's the only thing I can think of. I've never really seen this happen at a high school level. We were kind of bloviating a little bit, so I wasn't really paying attention to what the calls were. But at any rate, we are going to kick the ball again. Warblock back to boot this one, and there's 11:46, and we haven't even played.
Coming out fast with the kick, catching him off guard.
And here it is, going to kick it back to Jake Nelson, and he slips up at the 1-yard line. Oh, no.
And Haslett just caught a big break right there.
Oh, wow.
There is a gift.
Oh, in the NFL, he could have kept running, but not in high school nor in college. So here, this is probably best case scenario for Haslett. I'm going to say pinning him inside the 2-yard line.
And the nice thing about this for Haslett is that if you're Ionia and you're back on your own goal line, you can't do a lot of that faking. You got to go right towards the middle, and you got to be safe. And anytime you have to be safe, the defense can really take advantage of you.
Yeah, so let's see if Haslett puts a 4-man defensive line. It looks like they do. I wouldn't have suspected that they would go to something else. There's a flag on the play, probably some and they're going to call encroachment.
Penalty marker. Indication is offside, Vikings.
And here, let's take a replay of the last play. That was most likely the slip up. You can see.
1st and 5.
Here's the kick. You can see just couldn't get his footing.
There's that gift, and right when they get a gift like that, they shoot themselves in the foot once again. Mm-hmm. Penalties, man.
And during that replay, Ionia just took it straight up the middle. That's going to bring up, I think it's 3rd and 1. Or 2nd and 2, excuse me.
2nd down, 2.
And we talked earlier about how this is a senior-led team. You don't see with senior-led teams a lack of discipline like we're seeing tonight.
Massingill under center. A fumbled snap, and there's going to be a scrum, I assume. I think he got right back on it, and he just gets back to the line of scrimmage, if that. So 3rd and 2.
There's another gift for Haslett on this that 2nd down. Let's see if they can capitalize and force a punt here after this play.
So 3rd and 2. Really, actually 3rd and 1. He actually got a gain out of that.
Fumble Ruski for a yard.
Massingill back under center. Ionia back into the familiar. And looks like it's going to go. I can't even see the number.
Excellent play. Roadblock got there first, and the defense followed him up.
that was 28, Connor Wellman, and they really tried to put him to the outside. So it's going to bring up 4th and 2, or 4th and 3, and that's going to most likely provide a punt situation for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think if you're Ion, you really want to keep this game manageable, and you definitely don't want to take a risk right now backed into your own end zone.
So here, number 11, Tommy White, back to punt. In the own end zone. This is always scary. Ooh, snap is off and good. The kick is going to bounce at the 40, take a sideways hop, and it's going to stay, or it's going to be about at the 39-yard line. So this is very, very, very good field position for the Haslett Vikings.
Yeah, great opportunity here. And in a situation like this, maybe they don't have to go for the deep shot because they're already so close.
Yeah. Well, right now I don't think that Haslett really would pass, but you know they have not really been there themselves this game. You know, in terms of the offensive set. Right now, it looks like Haslett's going to go into the offset wing T formation. Looks like we have Jenks, Cassidy, and Warblock. And they're going to hand it off to Cassidy. He takes it straight up the middle.
Cassidy, the ball carrier for the Vikings.
And so that's going to give them a 2-yard gain.
Up by 61, Jay Miller.
Tackled forward for yards there, but good defense there by Ionia, staying at home.
So 9 minutes and 12 seconds left in the third quarter. 7-7, still the score. Here at Jamie Gent Stadium, who knew?
Long-time athletic director, pretty well liked around campus, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. Offset wing T formation again, going to give it to Cassidy. Cassidy finds a hole. He's going to take it up the middle and take it to the outside, and he's going to be just shy of that first down.
Yeah, you see a running back like Cassidy at such a small stature, like I said, but that speed on the inside can really hurt you just as much as the outside.
Yeah, and strike that. Actually, Cassidy takes it up the middle for a first down, so that's exactly what Haslett needs to do, create some sort of drive. The more time you have the defense sitting is definitely better, especially after a first half like that defense had. I mean, that time of possession was just brutal to Haslett.
Absolutely.
Here we go again, the Wildcat formation.
Here's Roblox and Cassidy.
You got Warblock. Watch Jake Lampman in motion. And, yep, they hand it back off to him. He's going to try to take it to the outside, but the defensive end was going to have none of that. Number 28, Connor Wellman, he's been a man of all trades, takes Lampman down.
Yeah, they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I think they're kind of overusing the end around there. A little too early to go to that if I'm Haslett here. You might want to set, I mean, if I were them, I would have faked that because it works so well for them in the pass. And having Roblox out there, he can throw just as well as he can run, like we said.
And let's look at the replay of this last play. You can see the defense just overpowering.
Yeah, if you watch the linebackers, they already had their eyes on that play looking for it.
They knew exactly what was coming. So Foreign back under center. He's going to hand it off to Cassidy. Cassidy breaks a couple tackles, gets into the secondary, and it's going to be about a 6-yard gain.
There's that speed again. Acceleration, a very key part of every running back for Haslett's offense.
Yes, they are. You know, I mean, the running game for Haslett has traditionally been just the keystone, you know, for everything, you know. And it's not just the running game; it's the running back core that they continue to breed. I mean, it's ridiculous year in and year out. I mean, and you know, it goes to show that they definitely have a good youth program that is that's bringing up these kids at a young age to become good running backs. So here we're going to give it to Jenks in wide open space. He's going to try and make one guy miss, and he does. And it's a foot race to the end zone.
There he goes.
Touchdown, Jenks.
Touchdown. Jenks was definitely a guy to watch. He can always break the big play, and we see it right there with that athleticism.
Yeah, and then we're going to take a replay of that real quick. And look at that. I mean, just putting an athlete into space, and good things happen.
Yeah, and I mean, that has the same effect as almost like a toss play. I mean, it's a very, very non-risky pass down. But when you got space, there's that athleticism that I talked about. You know, when it comes down to it, you can play a game as well as possible, but sometimes you're just not athletic enough to catch up to a guy or to make the play all the time.
The point after attempt is up and good. 14-7 is the score here at Jamie Gent Stadium. And look at that, the momentum shifting in the way of the Vikings.
Haslett 14, Ionia 7.
Let's see if we can't get a replay of that last touchdown scoring drive.
Winning 50-50 ticket tonight is blue, 5602.
That is exactly what you want to see if you are a Haslett fan. You know, and that wasn't the traditional wing T formation.
Right.
That was that single back slot, you know, receiver, whatever you want to call it, whatever video game you play, Madden. There's always, you know, ace. I don't care. That's just a good play, and I loved seeing this offensive playbook starting to open up at times when you need it the most.
Yeah, and I think coaches for Haslett have finally taken a look back and seen that. I mean, guys like Jenks, Roblox, Cassidy, Lampman, they're a lot faster, they're a lot more agile than some of these Ionia defenders, and they definitely took advantage of it right there.
Oh, yeah, they definitely did. I mean, that play was all but ended if that wide receiver didn't have that, you know, the lackluster tackle. But nevertheless, we're sitting at a 14-7 score in favor of the Haslett Vikings. Here, Roblox to kick it, and I think they're going to call offsides on Haslett. What looked like to be a potential onside kick. They're going to call that offsides on the Vikings of Haslett.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, anytime you want to come out and surprise a defense, you don't do it by getting a penalty put against you.
No, not at all. You know, they tried, yeah, like you said, they tried that sneak attack, the surprise, and it just, you know, they got a little, get a little excited. So we will back this up 5 yards, and we will replay the kick. I would assume they're just going to boot this down.
Yeah, pretty doubtful if they would try that again.
But you never know.
And there's that athleticism again. I mean, if Ionia's front five here is a bad hands team, then you can always try to kick it to them and have them fumble it around, and then you got a chance to get it back. But like you said, they're probably just going to come out and boot it here.
And another onside-esque play, and it looks like turn around. Number 70, Kyler Johnston just picks that ball and sits down.
Yeah, I think when you see a guy like Delaney coming at you, you're just going to be satisfied with catching the football.
Yeah, especially if you're not in a situation that you get footballs many times. I'm sure that was a surprise to him and all. 7:05 left in this third quarter. 14-7 is the score. Haslett just coming off a fantastic drive in which Marcus Jenks, that is, took it in for 6. Massingill, a double reverse, gives it to Jack Nelson, and Nelson brought down by a couple defenders of the Haslett Persuasion.
Excellent job standing home there. And like I said, they're really buckling down on the arm tackles. They're making the plays now.
That's going to be a 2-yard loss, bringing 2nd and 12. That's exactly what Haslett needs to do. They need to go in the opposite direction, especially if they want to keep the momentum on their side. We saw how easily Haslett lost it earlier in the game.
Right.
Massingill under center. Fakes it. He's going to look for a pass. He's looking downfield. He has a guy open. It's going to be almost intercepted. What a great play by number 8, Jake Lampman. And that was just an athletic play all around.
Exactly. That was excellent coverage to put him in that position. I mean, he was with him the entire way. He wasn't beat for a second.
No.
And that must be pretty discouraging if you're Ionia, because the fake worked pretty well. The quarterback had time, but when your receivers just can't beat the coverage consistently, it causes a problem in the passing game.
Yeah, Lampman was there step for step, and he was with the receiver, and he looked back, found the ball, and actually had a shot at intercepting the pass. Now, if he actually caught it anyway, the foot was clearly out of bounds,
exactly,
so it didn't matter. But he did what he needed to do, and it just shows you that athleticism and the exceptionalism that is Jake Lampman. And it's going to be another pass. It looks like a rollout. And he has a guy open in the flats, and it's going to be incomplete, not even catchable. I don't know what Ionia is really thinking. But that's going to bring 4th and 12, and one would assume the punt team will be coming out.
Yeah, and how nice is it to know if you're Haslett that when you're blitzing and you only have a few guys back, you can still cover the pass so well. It really gives you a lot of flexibility on defense when it's so one-dimensional on the other side of the football. And that's really what Ionia's come to present tonight, is a one-dimensional attack. Now, in the first half, it worked really well because they had a lot of room to fool the defense. They hadn't really figured them out yet. It almost seems as if Haslett's figuring them out as we progress here.
Well, something must have happened at halftime that inspired these individuals, because they have come out with some gusto. So here it is. It's going to go just over the 50-yard line.
Another good bounce for Haslett here.
And it takes a Viking hop And so 6:09 left in this third quarter. Haslett 14, Ionia 7. Haslett getting the ball back again.
The Vikings will start 1st and 10.
And now the Hazlett's got a lot of room to run clock as well. They got a room to really work their wing T, because that whole time of possession can really, the tables have been turned now. They've got the lead, they've got the momentum, they can work a lot of different things. The defense is the one on its heels now.
Yep, whenever Haslett is up, this is when you love the wing T formation, because when it is working, it takes a lot of time off the clock. Foreign under center. Gonna hand it off to Jake Lampman. He's going to try and take it to the outside. Wow, he's just taking a whole bunch of people.
Look at
Still
that.
not going down, and he gets 8 yards on the carry.
Well, I think you can really tell where the momentum is now. That's for sure. Lampman showing his athleticism there. And like I said, that's what's dangerous is we just saw Jenks break a play on the last drive. Now it's Lampman. Who is it going to be next? You know, they're all great weapons.
Wow.
See on the replay here, refusing to go down.
You need to throw that into super slow motion because he was just an animal. Warren back under center, offside, wing T formation. They're going to give it off to, it looks like Cassidy. Cassidy gets the first down and more. Over the 40, and it's 5:27 and counting.
Yeah, and if you're a Haslett player, this is what they preach to you. You know, the wing T. It's patience and just steadily nickeling and diming the defense.
It looks like an Ionia player is down. Looked like he was punching the ground and maybe just kind of what is that called? Get the air knocked out of you.
Yeah, the wind knocked out of you.
The wind knocked out. Oh, that's never a good feel. I had that happen to me twice. Never want that to happen to me.
I know how that feels. That's for sure.
Such a weird moment where you're trying to breathe.
Right.
And you physically can't. It's kind of scary.
Well, hopefully that's all it is. I mean, he seems to be, his arms and legs got a lot of flexibility. Probably just a big collision.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a concussion either.
Yeah, let's hope that it is not a concussion. Here it looks like the Ionia coach walking over to see exactly what is going on.
And surprisingly enough, if you're Haslett, this also kind of helps you. I mean, you never want to take advantage of an injury, but they're it's a really good time for Haslett to slow the game down with the lead and momentum, and this does help that. Hopefully the player is okay, but at the same time, it's a positive for Haslett.
560249. 560249. Please bring your ticket to the press box.
That was number 28, Alex Wellman. Now, he has been an integral part of this offense. We'll see if that kind of changes anything for Ionia. We hope that he's okay. Walking off the field under his own volition.
Yeah, that might have been a concussion, maybe just a big collision, like you said, wind knocked out or a stinger maybe. Nothing looked to be pulled or broken or anything like that, so we might see him back in the game later on.
Let's hope it's not anything too serious. And with that, we get back to football.
You see Jenks split out on the close side of your screen here, only going with 2 back, so opening up a little bit more.
They're going to hand it off, it looks like, to number 32, Cassidy. And Cassidy gets maybe a couple yards. And Haslett just taking that time off the clock.
Yeah, it's really been a flip of the script, if you will. You know, the physical domination at the line, time of possession, everything's really been turned around. And it's kind of hard, like I said, for Ionia when you can only do one thing so well, and that's fake and just kind of push the line and run. I mean, Haslett has so many different things that it does well on offense, and that's what's really helping them turn it around here in the second half.
Yeah, whenever you can win the battle in the trenches, you know something is going to go right during the game. And they hand it off. It's a fumble, and Warblock got right back on it, so that's going to be a loss of 3. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 5 yards right there.
Yeah, it looked like maybe some miscommunication on the offensive line, probably. Somebody broke through there. You got to wonder whose fault that was. But thankfully, Haslett's able to dive on it. Good awareness by Roblox there.
Third down, 13.
So we got 3rd down and 13 right here. 4 minutes and 17 seconds and counting. Warren back under center.
Going with another split back.
They're going to hand off to Jenks. Jenks taking it to the outside. He cuts it up. He's taking it back out. There's a flag on the play. Most likely holding, and he's just shy of that 1st down. But let's look back at the yellow piece of cloth on the field. See if we can't judge.
Yeah, I would probably say holding.
Yep, and that's the preliminary indication. So this is going to come back.
And that's the risky part about a toss play, is that that's a lot of open field blocking. And open field blocking is a very, very underrated aspect. It's very hard to do, and it's really hard to hold your position. But anytime a guy beats you, it's really tempting just to hold him down to make the play open up, and then that's probably exactly what happened.
And there you saw a replay of the last play. I always feel weird when I say that, replay of the last play. I don't know, I feel like I'm saying play too many times.
3rd down, 17.
Here we go, that wildcat formation.
There's that end around.
And here we go, Jake Lampman taking it back out across the field. He's trying to face guard another, and they're just going to bring him down for him. I think he gets 1 yard.
Stiff arm to the face there on Lampman's part. And, looks like he's down.
Well, I don't know what happened right there.
I think I just heard him grunt from up here in the press box.
Well, he's a tough guy. I'm sure he will be back in the game. Wow. I mean, that jersey just came off. I mean, they really scratching and clawing. I mean, by any means necessary, taking him down. They know what he can do. Here, let's watch that play again. You can see just taking the end around and just really ran.
To the face.
Yeah, there you go. But ran right out of room, and number 8 wasn't.
I think if you're Haslett, you really need to fake that play. They've overused it definitely.
Wow, what a nice punt this is! As it takes a nice backwards stop at about the 10-yard line, and so Haslett pitting them in, some pretty good field position in terms of for Haslett.
And if you're Haslett, you're really not focusing on Ionia opening up any more than they already have. So they just continue to do what they're doing on defense. They should be in pretty good shape.
So let's see what Ionia does. Looks like that they're going to hand it straight up the middle to number 20, Sadler. And he just takes it straight up the middle for maybe 2 yards.
Second down, 9.
Little over 2 minutes left. Ionia, that's the problem with that offense, though, is that when it gets down to it, you can't really work that offense in a big amount of time. You have to, if you're crunched down and all you can do is run, then you have a lot of problems with getting the ball down the field.
Yeah, that's true. And right now it looks like splitting some people out. They're going to look to pass. It's just a short pass. Number 12, that was Jake Nelson. And he gets maybe 2 yards. Now, I like the idea, but he caught the ball and essentially didn't do anything. He didn't do what that play is designed to do, and that's you get the ball and then take it straight up.
Yeah. And if you're Haslett, you've got guys like Jenks in the spaced out where they can make plays, juking left and right. Ionia doesn't really have that. Yeah,
no, you're right, and you touched on it earlier on in the game where you said it just looks like that Ionia doesn't have the athletes that this offense, needs.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason Haslett's been so excited about this year is not just their team unity, and their spirit. It's literally they have the talent of a very, very high class, prone to be in the postseason type team.
Yeah, they do. It's just unfortunate that they dropped the first game of the season and then a rivalry game. And you know what? That East Lansing Haslett game has become somewhat of a rivalry game.
Exactly.
It's kicked off the season, and Haslett the past couple of years have actually won that game, and that's a big game to win against a Class A team.
Yeah, East Lansing's been a pretty solid program, whether it's football, basketball, just about all the sports. They've got the athletes just like Haslett does, only on a larger scale. You know, they've got a lot more kids in their schools and things like that, which is why they're Class A. So it's been pretty impressive, and it was pretty disappointing this year to drop that game.
Yeah, if you remember just a couple of years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago, East Lansing went pretty deep into the postseason on the back of Isaac Harper. That guy, let me tell you something. He was a ridiculous athlete. When I played here at Haslett for freshman year, we played against East Lansing, first game of the year at East Lansing against Isaac Harper. 60-58 was the final score, and yeah, they ended up winning the game. But I played linebacker, and let me tell you something. I don't think I ever touched the kid. I'm just gonna, and I have no shame in saying that. I don't think I ever touched the kid.
Yeah, and you know, he had a lot of potential to play outside of the high school area. You know, he had the talent of, you know, Division I type, and there was a lot of controversy with what went on after his high school career, but it was pretty sad to not see him in a big-time program, because I really do think that you put him anywhere in the Division I scale, and he can make an impact. Yeah,
he definitely could. Well, here, Foreign looking to pass, and he tries to step up in the pocket like a seasoned veteran, but instead he gets sacked for a huge 10-yard loss.
There's Garrett Smith. We haven't seen him at all. Not really much of the Ionia defensive line making plays, but you know, with the Haslett offense, the blocking is very essential, as with any offense. And if it starts to break down here from fatigue, you know, like we talked about earlier, there's been a change in the offensive line with veering out. So you got to wonder if it can really hold for this last fourth quarter.
And well, here, like you just said, the fourth quarter is about to go underway as we end the third quarter right now. 14-7 in favor of Haslett, but right now Haslett second and long to start this fourth quarter. I think that what Haslett really needs to do is they got to get this first down. This is what needs to happen right now.
Yeah, you hear the term a lot, managing the game, and they're in great position. They've figured out the Ionia offense, and if they can just manage the game, they should be in great shape.
Well, here we go. We're going to hand it over to the drum line real quick, and we'll be back to start the fourth quarter. Start the fourth quarter. Foreign under center, going to hand it off to Cassidy. Cassidy taking it up the field. He gets 4 yards on the carry. You can still see the drum line doing their stuff.
Very talented drum line. That's the first time I've seen them all year. Don't think they're anywhere close to the Nick Cannon team in the movie, but doing pretty well.
Nice reference.
Yeah.
That was nice. I like that. So 11:28. Like you said, time management is the key to the game. So Haslett going to that single back formation. We saw a pass to Jenks last time they did this. And they're going to hand it straight up the middle of Cassidy. Cassidy makes a guy miss. He has a good block by number 7. And he's going to take it up the field to the 20, the 10, 5. Still on his feet. Touchdown! Woo!
Small in stature, but big in heart, and very, very fast feet. There's Cassidy.
And look at that. Haslett just been a quick striking team from anywhere on the field tonight.
See on the replay here, just good blocking by Roblox to take 2 guys out almost of the play, and Colby doing what Lampman did earlier, outrunning down the sideline.
And so the extra point is good, and so that's going to bring 21-7 in favor of the Haslett Vikings.
And now if you're Ionia, I mean, they haven't passed well all game. They've got 2 scores to go back in only about 11 minutes here. I don't know what you do if you're Ionia. I mean, it's a real state of emergency now with such a simple offense.
Well, I mean, it's kind of what Haslett, always has, to deal with.
Right.
Because when Haslett gets down, it's that wing T formation that you're just like,
yeah.
you can't really see them coming back because I feel like the wing T formation almost. I mean, if you just do a pure wing T formation, that's all you do, and you're down. I feel like that handicaps you because you don't have that big play potential. We've seen it tonight where but every time that they've scored, they've spread the field out.
Exactly.
I don't know if if you've seen that, and that's something that I think that Coach O and the rest of the coaching staff have really looked at and said, hey, they saw the game tape and they knew that they had the athletes to, if it came down to a foot race, they were going to win.
The wing T is a real love-hate relationship. You absolutely love it when you're ahead, and you really hate it when you're behind. And now Ionia is in that position of the hate part of that. And I don't see any way they can air it out. I really don't. The coverage has been phenomenal tonight by Haslett, and I just don't see any way that they can go through the air to get a score quickly.
Well, here's a squib kick by Haslett, and number 11, Tommy White, also known as the punter, and another flag comes in, and it looked like it was after the play. But Tommy White, let me get back to what I was saying, has been the punter, and he looked like he wanted to take that all the way for a touchdown. So let's see, we got a personal foul, face mask on Haslett. That's the second personal foul by Haslett tonight, something that I know the coaching staff does not like.
Yeah, if you're Haslett here, you don't want to resemble the Detroit Lions, the fact that you always find a way to lose a game. And the only way they can find a way to lose this game is losing their composure, penalties, which even with a spread of score right now, penalties can still hurt you, whether it's personal fouls, face masks like we just seen. As long as they keep their composure, they'll be fine.
So it looks like Massingill is going to be under center, going to hand it off to Jake Nelson again, and he's going to be brought down by number 9.
Topo Mandela there.
Thank you for taking that, because I Toka Mandua. Yes, thank you. Wow, that is a tough one for commentators.
Yeah, he actually grew up overseas, came to America in his younger years, and by the last name, you could probably have guessed that.
Oh, yeah. Well, here, just for you people at home, MWONDELA. Have fun with it. 10 minutes and 21 seconds and counting. Looks like Messingill's going to look for a pass. He's trying to go downfield, trying to turn it upfield now by himself. He gets just maybe a yard, and there was really no one downfield.
Yeah, they really were all over the place. I mean, Peyton Warner in the backfield there almost had a shoelace tackle, and then when he couldn't make that, but the defense was right there to get him on the sideline. Just like I said, I mean, every time Ionia tries to spread the field, they're just getting outran and out-hit.
Yeah. So he goes out of bounds and stops the clock at 10:08. Left in the game. Massingill under center. Hands it straight off to Sadler.
Jordan Sadler.
And Sadler gets a pretty good gain. I don't understand why you do that on 3rd and 8, but nevertheless, it's going to bring up a 4th down, and I think that Ionia's going to go for it.
Yeah, I think it's do or die time now. When you got an offense like theirs and you're down 2 scores with only just under 10 minutes left.
So right now here is a big play if you are a Haslett fan or if you're playing on the Haslett defensive side of the ball.
And I think if you're Ionia now, you might want to go back to that fake and counter because you got 3 yards to go and you need a big play to kind of switch the momentum around a little bit. I think the counter would be a really nice play to open up with now. We'll see what they do.
Massingill under center, Sadler in the backfield. They're doing a hard count, trying to see if they can't do it. They give it to that Nelson kid, and he is really close to that 1st down.
Working hard for it.
I think they're going to give it to him. Yeah, that wasn't necessarily the counter, but they definitely did the
toss.
The toss, yeah. I guess it would be a counter.
And you can see, you can't see it on the screen, but Haslett's coaches and players going nuts. They're not happy with the spot at all.
First and 10 Bulldogs from the Vikings 44.
And that's a pretty hard call for referees to spot a ball. It's pretty pretty big load of work, especially when you're not always there to see it all the time.
Yeah, Coach O really giving his 2 cents on where that spot should have been. Well, too bad you're not a college coach right now. You could have challenged the play.
Here's a pass.
Massingill looking for a pass. Finds a guy over the middle, and there's going to be a flag.
I don't know where that's coming from.
What?
Lammers got in there and deflected that ball very, very nicely. Great coverage by him. I mean, if they call pass interference, I don't know where it is.
Maybe we can get a replay.
Maybe it was holding.
Let's see if we can't get a number as well. So so they gave a holding, and you know what? It wasn't where the ball was thrown, but there was an additional receiver at the top of the field where we're looking at, so the top of your screen.
Right.
And it looked like he was kind of brought back a little bit. So that's the only thing that I can think of.
Right.
Because it was defensive holding. And
as a defensive back, when you're playing press coverage like that, there's a fine line between playing good press coverage and holding. And that's a call that we're seeing a lot more as we evolve as a football community. You know, when you watch at the bigger levels, you're seeing that a lot more. And I think that's because teams are press covering a lot more. You know, we see a lot more talented cornerbacks at the upper levels, and they're playing that press coverage very, very tightly. And sometimes, I mean, it's just too tempting to hold.
Messingill under center. He'll give the counter. He gives it to number 11. That's the punter, White. And he takes it for a first down. Oh, excuse me. They're going to say his knee hit just shy of that first down. They'll bring second and 1.
Boy, how many times in an NFL game would you see the punter run for a carry like that, huh?
Exactly. Tommy White. I like that name. Rolls off the tongue. It's going to be 2nd and 2, excuse me, with 8 minutes and 21 seconds left on the clock. Remember, they started this drive with 11 minutes.
Right.
Massingill under center. And they fake the toss. And they hand it off. I can't really gather a number. Oh,
so
that was White.
There's
no.
White again.
No.
Maybe not.
Turn.
That is 12.
12.
That's Jake Nelson on the carry.
Oh, okay. I have Nelson down. I know it now.
He has it all over the place. Just there's only so much one player can do when you're on a non-talented offense like this.
That's true. They're going to give it straight up the middle.
Push it forward.
To Sadler, and Sadler takes it for 5, and this is just not what you want to see if you're a Haslett coach. At least you have a two possession lead right now. So I mean, right now they're taking a lot of time off the clock in order to get this touchdown, or to put themselves in position for some sort of score.
And we've seen Ionia be pretty proficient in the red zone here. So if you're Haslett, this is a pretty big series of downs now, as we were 2nd down and 6 now.
Well, efficiency is basically what football is all about.
Right.
And they give it to White. White gonna try and cut it up the middle. Wow, he just gets sideswiped, and he gets 3 yards on the carry.
Yeah, efficiency and consistency. And to Ionia's credit, they haven't strayed from their game plan at all. They're continuing to have faith in what has worked for them. Well, I mean, not this year because they're 0-3, but has worked for them in the past. But they don't have a lot of room to flip the script. They don't have a lot of room to run a lot of different plays, so they're just doing the most that they can do.
Yeah, Ionia, just to kind of give you a background on them, they played Grand Rapids Forest Hills for the first game of the year. They lost 34-14, so they only put up 14 points. And here you see, it looks like Sadler again getting the ball, so it's a bring 4th down. Then they played Williamston. Lost to Williamston 35-7.
Yeah.
And that's one of those games that really sticks out to you because Williamston, not really one of the better football teams.
Yet this year, though, Williamston is very, very highly touted. They've got the names Dylan, and Dylan has come up because of Dylan Schultz and Monette, who are a pair of, not brothers or anything like that, but they're very close, and they're the first name basis and everything. They're both so athletically talented. And they've got, I mean, they're just like Haslett. In fact, they've got big play potential just about every down.
Well, I stand corrected.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really guess that because of the size of the area, but they're a good team.
And here it's going to be a pass up, and it looks like Lampman just makes a great play, and that's going to be a turnover on downs, and Haslett's going to take over. Well, at any rate, Ionia played against Williamston, lost 35-7, and they played Fowlerville 14-7. Fowlerville wins.
Yeah, and I don't have very much information on Fowlerville as a school. Generally, they haven't been a real strong program, but you know, that speaks volumes about Ionia's offense, that this year they don't really have the firepower. And for a minute there on that last play, I think I saw the first opening for a pass. It's just to Haslett's credit, they really pressured the quarterback well and forced him to roll out more. And you know, you only have so much time for that window to fit the ball into.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know, for Fowlerville, normally they've been in the top 3, you know, year in and year out. Haslett, Fowlerville, they always put on a great show, whether it's here or at Fowlerville. I know that some of my best memories from being a student here was watching, you know, Haslett play Fowlerville, because you could just sense the electricity in the air. You could sense the you know, the meaning of a win against that team, because you know, the last couple of years for not only the CAC Gold, but you know, even before that, the ICL, it was DeWitt, Fowlerville, Haslett every year.
Right.
Every year.
You know, I think moving on with the schedule for Haslett now, if they can continue to manage this game, they've got winnable games all over the place. I mean, I would argue that both the East Lansing and DeWitt games were winnable. You know, they just kind of blew it in a sense. And I think that going here on out, they're all going to be close but winnable games for Haslett. So the future's pretty bright, even though they started off 1-2. If they can continue to manage this game, and now we're under 5 minutes, so shouldn't be too hard for them.
Right. Well, you know, this is the wing T formation, so they're just taking a lot of time off the clock. 4 minutes and 45 seconds left in this game. 21-7. Haslett is on top. Florin back under center. And there's a flag. Delay game, maybe? Or maybe they saw someone move. Oh, offside. See, now I don't understand. The ball was not hiked.
I think that was just a simple mistake on one of the defensive lineman parts of lining up over the football.
Over the football?
Yeah,
okay.
you really got to watch that as a defensive lineman. Even your helmet cannot be over the line of scrimmage, and that was probably just a simple breakdown. And those are the kind of things that can happen when your will has really been, you know, drive to the core. You know, you start out so well, and you're just really getting beaten down now. And mistakes like that can really sprout when you're in a position like this.
Now, is that being that now? If you're a down lineman, once you're set, you can't be over it, and even if it's just a dead ball foul?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Now in college,
you know, sometimes you might see a guy jump and get back before the play is sniped or the ball is hiked, but you know, it can go either way.
Yeah.
I mean, in high school they're a lot more strict on it, I think, because you don't see a lot of defensive movement before the snap anyways in high school. I mean, you might see some, you know, blitzing linebackers moving up and down, but they're nowhere near the line of scrimmage anyway. I mean, they might get up on it, but they don't ever have a risk of crossing it. But for defensive linemen, you know, they're not doing a lot of shifting.
Yeah.
You know, you rarely see those guys move around at all once they're set, so that's pretty important for them to line up in the right place to make a play.
3 minutes and 45 seconds left in the game, and they're going to hand it off, looks like, to Cassidy, and he is just taking every single player for a ride, and he gets 3 yards on the carry.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lack of 33 Jake Shibley at this point. You got to wonder if they're just conserving him. I mean, you got a lead like this, and he's a very, very talented player. It's almost like they're just kind of keeping him on the sideline, getting ready for next week, because he's arguably the team's best player.
Yeah, he's been relatively quiet tonight. Foreign under center, and they're going to hand it off to Jenks. Jenks finds a hole. He's going to take it
There's
back.
the agility.
He took it back, and he fumbles the ball. He gets right back on it, and he's at the 50-yard line, 49-yard line, and he's shaken up on the play, but gets a first down for Haslett.
Yeah, I was always a lineman, so I could never relate to this. But, you know, you get in the open field like that, and sometimes you just forget about holding on to the football when you want to score a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's see.
Hope for Haslett's season that Jenks is going to be all right.
Looked like he just kind of got shooken up.
Yeah, he's up. He's a tough kid. He'll be all right.
Yeah, and sometimes you just get that hit, and you're just like, okay,
Right.
And here the player, the Old Spice Red Zone player of the game, Jake Lampman, and I think that was pretty much a unanimous decision up here. So here you go, Old Spice, when performance matters the most.
There's our advertisement, huh?
Ball is spelled to Haslett, 49-yard line.
He's just been amazing.
Yeah, he's really carried the load. Like you said, Shiley's been pretty quiet. Jenks had one big play for the touchdown, but Lampman's been the most consistent back so far here tonight. And there he is, close to your screen.
They're going to hand it off to Cassidy, and he's taken down right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe gets an 6 inches. I think give him a yard.
Pretty generous spotting, but it's also come back to haunt Haslett. It's been pretty generous for both teams, I think. And I think that if you're a referee, if you're going to lean one way or the other, at least make it fair for both teams, and they've done a good job with that.
Yeah, I feel like they've done a very good job officiating this game. There haven't been too many calls that you thought, were too ridiculous, but
Right.
at the same time, when Iowa, wow, when Ionia doesn't throw the ball as much, you're not going to see those, close pass interference calls. And so here it looks like Foreign's going to take it for himself, and you know what? He just has been getting hit all game. And it looks like he might have gotten shaken up right there, but his friends will bring him to his feet, and we got a timeout, Ionia.
And it's always nice to see a quarterback lower his shoulder. I mean, it's not nice for injury purposes, but he's tough. He's consistently there to take the hits, and he's not giving up on his own runs.
One last reminder about Wednesday night is Haslett night at Culver's. 10% of sales between 4
When you get to the upper levels, you see a lot more sliding in that situation. You see a lot more just players going down on their own because, like I said, I mean, injury purposes for quarterbacks. Here at the high school level, the quarterbacks really have a lot more freedom to be tough. And we saw that last week in DeWitt that Haslett got burned by their quarterback in the running game, and he was I forget the name, but he wasn't really sliding and just kind of taking 5-10-year games. He was really torching them down the field.
Yeah.
And thankfully for Haslett, Ionia doesn't run a set where a quarterback can scramble because all their plays are usually running plays anyway. And in the passing game, we haven't seen too much foot speed from the quarterback anyway. So.
Yeah, it is funny in college, but at the same time, when you got Greg Jones coming at you, I would slide every day of the week. I wouldn't even go on the field. It's not worth it. I rather enjoy living.
Yeah, a lot more than getting the wind knocked out of you. You get hit by that guy going full speed.
That is the truth. 1 minute and 46 seconds left in the game, and they're going to hand it off to Lampman, and he has a couple blockers. He's going to take it back to the outside, cuts up, and he gets to the 44-yard line.
Clock is really ticking down here, and you can almost see Ionia's spirit fading out. I mean, there's only so much you can do in a time like that, and I think they pretty much know where this one's headed.
Yep, well, they take a timeout and just kind of give themselves, at least some sort of shot.
Right.
I don't know if Haslett, if you're Haslett, you go for it right now. It's the game.
Yeah.
Your defense has been playing well. I say go for it.
Yeah, I mean, they've only got 4 yards to go. Personally, I would just say punt because Ionia will take the time off the clock itself. But, either way they go, there's not really much they can do to lose this game.
Yeah, well, crazier things have happened.
True.
And right now,
True, I'll give you that.
if I would do the Wildcat formation, give it to Lampman and let him go. I mean, he scored, earlier today from about this distance.
Yeah, I've been preaching all night, fake that end around now because, they've used it so much. If they fake that now, it could really open up for a big play. And anything they run out of that Wildcat with their athleticism is dangerous.
Yeah, oh, definitely. So here we go. If you see number 7,
He's not. That looks like the punt team.
Oh,
no, there he is.
So the punt team comes out. Coach O deciding that he will pin Ionia deep.
If you roadblock, go for a corner here, possibly. Try to pin him way deep.
And Haslett going to take a timeout.
Timeout, Vikings.
Interesting. Maybe they're rethinking their strategy here on 4th down.
Well, they might have been in a fake situation.
Right.
And they might have saw something. I don't know. That's interesting. Normally you don't see that happen. You throw your punt team out there and call timeout.
And it could have been a breakdown. I mean, I didn't notice any mishaps, but it could have been 10 or 9 men on the field, or
Yeah.
one too many. But
Well, it is different for when you have coaches up in the booth, and they can like where we are, we can kind of see the field
Everything.
in a different way.
Yeah.
Than the coach that is actually
on the sideline.
on the sideline. Yeah. So they call down and say, hey, maybe we should talk about this real quick. Make sure that they know exactly where the blocking scheme is going to go. Especially if they go into that set again. Just make sure that
Right.
nothing goes wrong. But hey, you got timeouts right now. You can't take them, to the locker room with you, so you might as well burn them. So I would assume Haslett just punts this. I would not think they're gonna.
But I mean, they have the potential to fake, but they're gonna punt here. Almost
oh,
blocked.
that should be a flag almost, right? Running
Roughing.
into the kicker.
Yeah.
At least running into him. And a couple big sticks on Ionia. And so they're going to start just 5 yards past the 20. So 1 minute and 18 seconds. And it is desperation time for Ionia.
And you're seeing some of the second unit for Haslett here, giving them some extra reps. But at the same time, I don't think Hazlett's backing down in any sense, thinking this game's over. I think that being a 1-3 team, you never ever try to have any more mental lapses than you've already have.
He's going to pass, and that's the first pass that was wasn't even caught. So never mind. I take it back.
It was a pretty good out route there that really opened up the field. It's just that there's that athleticism, It looked like a decent throw, a little bit in front of him, and the receiver couldn't really make the play there.
So 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock.
Probably be seeing more of that spread type formation from
Yeah.
Ionia. That's the only choice they really have
I
here.
don't really agree with that, assessment. Or not assessment. I don't agree with this strategy. You haven't done this all game. That
Right.
hasn't worked for you, and now they're just going to go for Hail Marys. Ooh, getting to the quarterback, number
Finally
12.
a pass completed.
First pass completed for just over a yard. That was Jake Nelson on the carry, or the catch.
Yeah, if you're Ionia, the only place in the field that you can really, rely on is in between the hash marks. That's where the athleticism doesn't really matter as much. But once you get outside those hash marks and towards the numbers, you really don't have a chance if you're Ionia.
Yeah.
Third down, 9.
1 minute and 8 seconds left on the clock. The receiver was able to get out of bounds to stop. Looking downfield for the third consecutive pass, and he's
Sack.
going to be sacked by number 20, Dan Salinas.
Massingill sacked by number 20, Dan Salinas.
That's a good sack by the defensive end right there.
And like we said earlier, if you're Haslett, you can afford to blitz those guys. You can bring as many people as you want because you can always have, even if it's only a few guys in man coverage, they can always make plays because of their athleticism.
Definitely. So 36 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be fourth down, and yeah, this one is pretty much all but over. As that sack put the proverbial nail in the coffin. So 23 seconds left.
You're going to have to air it out deep if you're Ionia. Here they go.
Definitely. And here they try to set up a
Big hit there by Gorman.
oh my. And that's going to be incomplete. I don't even know what to say on that one.
He just got rocked.
Yeah.
That's Mike Gorman. That's a big, big man making a play right there.
Wow.
The ball goes over on
And so, I
down to the
mean,
Vikings.
tale of two halves as,
Right, exactly.
The Haslett defense really stepped up.
Absolutely. I think that says a lot about your heart as a football team when you can make adjustments and just execute the right way after really being dominated in the first half. They completely flipped the script. It's been a completely different half, and they know how to bounce back. And this is a good sign for the rest of the season that if they get in the situation again, whether it's a tie game or they're down, they have the potential to fight back. Just like they did in the DeWitt game last week, except they just couldn't come out on top. But they fought back very, very hard. You don't have to question the heart of this team by any means.
Yeah, definitely. And so it looks like Foreign will just take a knee, and those last 10 seconds will well, it kind of belabored the situation, but nevertheless, the last 5 seconds will be drained. And here we go. Start the celebration. Haslett gets a W. 21-7 is the final. And Chad, what's your final assessment?
Well, like you said, it's a tale of two halves. Haslett showed a lot of heart in that second half. They really figured out Ionia's offensive scheme, used their athleticism, and turned it around. Really did well.
Yeah, they really did. And so that puts Haslett at 2-2, 1-1 in the conference. The season looking a little bit brighter now.
It is, and like I said, all of their games are manageable. You know, they're going to be close. You know they're going to be close because once you get into that conference play, everything is just, you know, it's scrappy. You know, they have Williamston a few weeks from now, and that is a very, very tough game because if you look at Haslett's athletes and passing attack, Williamston is right there, if not much better. And Williamston made a decent run last year in the playoffs, and they have almost all of their starters coming back. So you look at that game, but you look at the rest, and most of them are manageable. I mean, in their own conference, they're definitely one of the better teams. So I think that if they play like this consistently, they should be in good shape.
Well, it should be a good one. But from here tonight, 21-7 is the final score. For Chad Roush, Aaron Johnson, and the rest of the Vision Sports crew, I am Tony Huff. Good night.